as we welcome in the president of our Players Association, James Ham. He is our legal expert. He is all things important. James Ham of the Insiders, of course, 10 to 12 here on ESPN 1320. Hammer, let's bring you into a conversation we were having earlier. It got interesting. We were asking about starting a franchise. Like who would you draft if you were starting a franchise? And Wemby obviously was there, Luka, Giannis, so on and so on. The question we asked, though, is how many draft picks are taken before De'Aaron Fox's name is called? And that got interesting.
Yeah, that's a great question, because I think when you're looking at players that you're going to consider in this type of conversation, you have to balance like age and contract status, like where they are in the league. And a lot of the players that you mentioned, like, look, if you're a GM and you're starting a team, you always have to remember that, like, you have to have players that are great now so you don't get fired and don't get to see the thing, like, play out, So if you're going to play that game, I guess it just depends on the parameters. But, like, I'm taking Victor Wembanyama, like, number one, like, no question. If I'm building a team today, there's absolutely no question I would take him number one and just build around him long term. But after that, it does get a little murky. I mean,
and that's where we just kept, because I thought, I think I could get De'Aaron into the top half of the draft, in the top 15. And then it just became what about this person? What about this person? What about this person?
And the conversation was also, we see De'Aaron a certain way. Does the league, does the media, if they're doing this little fantasy draft, do they see him somewhere? James, I said, I don't agree with this. I think he's within the top 20. I don't think he'd be in the top 20 if they put it out to NBA media members.
There was speculation Sengun would be drafted before him.
somebody would get
Zach Lowe was drafting. He's like, I'm gonna go Alperen Sengun.
Yeah.
No, I'm not taking Sengun, but I mean, you're gonna take Shea.
Do you think Tim Bontemps would? That's
your boy.
Would he take Sengun over Fox? Yeah, I think he would.
Maybe. I mean, it's possible. But, I mean, again, you're going to balance age. You're going to balance a lot of things. Like, you got to ask the question, what about Paolo? Like, if we're looking at Paolo today versus what Paolo's going to look like in 2-3 years, I mean, that could change your trajectory on who you would draft. I mean, certainly Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown are in this conversation. Donovan Mitchell are in this conversation. Like, the guys who are around like 25, 26 years old, that would be sort of the guys that you would work with. But I mean, even like a Jalen Brunson would have to be part of some sort of conversation, I think. But hey, look, I think Fox is undervalued. I mean, we talked about it the other day. The top 19 players, only one of them in scoring, only one of them didn't make the All-Star team, and he was number 8, and that was Fox. And then when you read off the names after Fox, it's just stunning, the fact that he didn't make the All-Star team. I mean, points per game, they're not the end-all, be-all. But, I mean, he averaged more than Steph. He averaged more than so many players that you consider, like, the top-notch players in the league. I just barely behind Jason Tatum on the season. And so I think, like, winning matters, and that's going to be the next stage of De'Aaron Fox's, like, career. Like, how do you become a sustained winner? And until he does that, I think he's always going to kind of be thought of this way. But, like, look, if they win 50 plus games, he's going to get all the flowers, and he's always known that. He's always said it, that, like, winning is what's going to matter. And if we win, I will get the recognition I deserve. If we don't win, then I'm never going to get the props that I deserve.
I wonder if he. That's how it should go. I to a certain degree agree with him, but sometimes on these guys, I wonder if he'd still get the recognition that
What
way.
a difference DeMar DeRozan has made for Sacramento.
Right. I mean, they still don't play defense, but You know,
Of course not. Of course not.
but
But
I
what
wonder
if-
if he wins if he gets that.
Okay, but what if DeMar DeRozan is a big reason why they win, and Fox drops to like 22.5 points a game this season? Then you have to look at that as like sort of part of the reason and a huge balancing point. So I don't know. I just wish that that all things were considered equal, and that NBA basketball writers and sort of the think tank, they all looked at the league as a whole as opposed to regional or their half of the country, what they're watching at 10 o'clock at night, because that's when the Kings come on, is at 10 o'clock at night, when a lot of these guys are they're done for the night, or they're covering a team and they're not going to get to watch the rest of it. They're already somewhere else covering a team and they're not going to watch what's happening at night. So it's tough. I pride myself at trying to watch as much basketball as I can. I don't watch every game. And so like there are times where like I might not have an appreciation for a player on the East Coast that I probably should. But you got to do your best to be fair and balanced when you're covering the league as a whole.
You didn't even talk about where Domas would be drafted.
Oh my gosh, he'd be
Fourth round.
Yeah, I'm about to say he'd be an undrafted free agent.
Man,
the way they talk about
they do
Domas.
not give that dude like an inkling of the respect that he deserves.
But they did during the end, the All NBA balloting. They give him the credit he deserves, and even MVP balloting. He's what, number 7 and number 8 in the last 2 years in MVP balloting. So it's not like they're ignoring him completely. Where I think again, it's kind of weird, but I think a lot of national writers think Fox is the best player, but then they vote Sabonis over him for All NBA. And again, it shouldn't be like, if you're All NBA and if you're a great player, it should transcend. Like, number one, it should transcend how many great players are on your team. I don't like this whole, oh well, there's 2 of them, so they kind of split the vote thing. Whatever. I mean, there was a point where the Atlanta Hawks had 4 guys make an All-Star team. So I don't want to hear it. Not when Jeff Teague makes an All-Star team. If you're a great player, it should transcend. And for some reason with Fox, it doesn't, on like a night in and night out basis.
How did?
Oh, go ahead. No, I was just gonna, for the record, I'm going through this, my personal list. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I got him at 11. He's probably somewhere between 11 and 15. De'Aaron Fox. There might be some that.
Give me the. Did you put names?
Yeah.
What are the names?
This is no order, just what came to my mind.
Okay.
Tatum.
Yep.
Jokic. I'll make it 12 because I'll put Paolo there. Paolo. Joel, Luka, SGA, Giannis, Wemby, Ant-Man, Donovan, Jaylen Brown. Yeah, not Paolo.
So you left the name out. Okay, that's interesting.
Who's that?
Devin.
Oh, Book.
Yeah, I'd keep Fox.
Donovan.
I got Donovan.
Oh, you said Donovan.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Okay.
So Devin Booker was a name that we talked about a lot earlier. In that, I think KC had a ringer list of top 100 players or something along those lines, and Book was like 13, and Fox was, I think, 22. What's that, Jesse?
Fox goes over Zion in these?
Oh,
Yes,
I would
yes.
take him.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
You would take Fox over Zion, Hammer,
Yes, I would.
and you would too.
I'll put Fox over Zion. I will say this though.
Sacramento
I
hates
think-
Zion Williamson.
I think Fox, Ja, Booker, and Zion, if they had tiers to this, I think they'd be on the same tier.
Fox, Ja, Booker, and Zion. They're not going to put John Fox's tier.
Mm. Mhm.
I just don't think they are.
Yeah,
What did
know.
Donovan Mitchell average per game last year?
probably
Was it
26.
28? I thought it was
26.
Who had? Oh, it was Book or
Jalen Brunson.
Jalen Brunson. That's
Yeah,
who it
that's what
was.
he
Yeah, you didn't name Brunson either.
I did.
Oh.
I would take Fox over Brunson.
Okay.
You would take Fox over Brunson?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't think that's like crazy either. I can't believe you didn't take Tyrese. Wow. Wow.
Well, look, I think so. This is what we talk about, the way we look at it, in the way that I think
Yeah.
they take Ja over him. I think they take Devin.
They take
I think
Zion.
they take Zion. I think Jalen Brunson. I think they take Tyrese. We're at 5 now.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think he'd be outside the top 20.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they're definitely like people on the East Coast are definitely gonna probably take Tyrese Maxey. They're gonna take Jalen Brown.
That was another one
Yeah,
we talked
Maxey.
about is
Yeah.
Tyrese Maxey and how
Yeah.
like it's just weird, and maybe it is the East Coast thing. Like, why didn't y'all fall in love with De'Aaron that way? Like, because where did Philadelphia get eliminated in the playoffs again?
First round, they were playing.
Oh, okay. Where
Yeah.
did the Kings get eliminated?
They went. Oh, they did win a series the year before. That's when they lost to Boston.
Yeah.
But James Harden was there doing his thing. James
Mhm.
Harden and Joel.
But this was Maxey's breakout year.
Yeah,
And
Maxey
they
was
just
great this year.
he was, and they
wasn't
bit
good
hook
enough.
line. I guess the thing is everyone bit hook, line, and sinker on Maxey. And De'Aaron did the same exact thing the year
Yeah.
before. And they
Yeah.
and no one is going into this thing with Philadelphia this year talking about, yeah, I'm not sure they can make this work, or I don't know if Tyrese can repeat that. That's what they did with De'Aaron. Show me again. Oh, he was good against the Warriors, riding high off his Under Armour deal, his Team Steph deal, but I don't know. Like, man, yeah. De'Aaron's been doing it for years.
Mhm.
Yeah.
He just did it on a bigger stage finally. Tyrese Maxey been like good, solid. You started to see the emergence, but he wasn't doing what De'Aaron was doing.
I agree.
Yeah, I would agree. And I would say that, the thing with Maxey, both Maxey and Ant-Man, they're both like they're going into their 5th season where you're going to give them a little bit of a benefit of the doubt because they kind of are establishing who they're going to be right now. Both of them took the big step to like the 25.5 points per game this last season and, almost 26 per game. And, where do they go from there? And Fox already took that step. He's a couple of seasons ahead of them, a couple of years older than them. But even still, that's what I brought it up the other day. Like, Fox finishes 8 in scoring. Then it's Curry, it's Jokic, it's Maxey, it's Anthony Edwards, LeBron James, Kyrie, Anthony Davis, Damian Lillard, DeMar DeRozan, Kawhi Leonard, Jalen Brown, and Zion Williamson. They're all below him in points per game, and none of them led the league in steals.
I was
And
gonna say he's a better defender than virtually everyone that you just named.
Yep.
yeah, so for me, it is really just like, how in the world do you single him out as the player you're not going to show respect to? And realistically, it's because he plays in Sacramento, and
Which
you
is
know,
so weird. That's
it's
just
weird,
weird to
but
me.
I mean, how many extra years did it take Chris Webber to get in the Hall of Fame? It took him like
Yeah.
5 years extra to get in the Hall of Fame. And I'm not saying that. I mean, hey, like if you're going to put some of his contemporaries in, he's a lot more first ballot Hall of Famer than some of the other guys that got in. But at the same time, like and he has some other issues with his Michigan days and stuff like that do hurt him greatly.
Oh, Michigan.
Well,
Relax.
Well, it's
Relax.
an organization that's known for cheating.
No, we get picked on. That's all it is.
Wow.
Well, Jim Tressel wasn't doing nothing crazy.
Victim. Terrell Pryor got a tattoo.
What was my Thad Mata? He wasn't doing nothing crazy.
I don't know what that Mata was doing. You bringing up basketball.
That's what I'm
I
saying.
don't care nothing about Ohio
What
State.
they doing in
I
Columbus?
just wanted Greg Oden to stay healthy. That's all I wanted.
yeah,
Greg Oden, Mike Conley to the national championship, baby.
yeah.
Go
National
Gators.
championship.
Yeah, but you know what I'm saying? It's like you do have this stigma about being in Sacramento, and there's nothing you can do to get away from it. The only thing you can do is win, and that it's tough, but that's what you have to. You got to put that above everything else. If they can start winning and they can become a sustained winner, I think he'll get back into the All NBA conversation. He'll get back into the All Star conversation, but if not, he'll be a one-time All Star. And he's just too good to be a one-time All-Star,
And real quick, James, just want to ask you, because we speculated he doesn't. You think De'Aaron cares about all this?
He certainly tells us he doesn't care.
He cares
Like,
about all NBA though. 'Cause
Definitely.
there's some serious financial
well,
ramifications for all
Rain and
NBA.
Poppy got to go to college.
Yeah,
yeah, well, I mean, they don't.
because they can't
Like
go
he,
now.
No,
You know,
they
yeah,
can't
they
go
got a
now.
he
family
get
to
that all
feed.
NBA money. They're not going to college.
Got to
They're
pay
going
that
to
car
own.
registration we were talking
Oh
about
man,
earlier.
come
Yeah, they can own their own college if that. I mean, that next step up is huge, huge. So yeah,
Is this the last year for that? Like, I feel like it's 2 years, but you don't want with the idea of this being such a critical year for him getting all NBA recognition is you don't want him playing out his final year without a contract extension. Am I misinterpreting
yeah.
that?
Well, I mean, so sort of the differences between all. I mean, there's different reasons why all NBA matter, right? So not only are you eligible, I think it's 30% of the salary cap versus 25%. So the dollar amount goes up. But if you get supermax money, then I believe you can be under contract you can sign a 5-year extension and be under contract for 6 total. And if not, you can only sign a 4-year deal with, you know, a 4-year extension that would make you under contract for 5 years. So there's more advantages. It's about percentage of the salary cap. Everyone gets the same 8% raises and all that stuff. But at the end of the day, there are other nuances to getting all NBA, and it's a huge, huge payday. Like I mean, we're talking about the difference of it's like look at that final year. If you can get to that final year and have it guaranteed now, knowing that you're going to get 8% raises every year, that final year is going to be like 70 million bucks. And if you don't get that final year, then the value of the contract goes down considerably. Not only are you not getting 30% of the cap, but you're getting 25, so you lose 5% there. But then there's a whole bunch more on top of that you're just not getting. And 5% of a 160 million dollar salary cap, I mean, that's a huge amount of money. I mean, that's just a tremendous. You're talking about like I think it's 7.5 million a year starting is basically the difference in that. But over a 4-year deal, that's 30 million bucks. And then if you can tack on that fifth year, now you're looking at like the difference is going to be roughly 100 million bucks making all NBA this year versus not making all NBA. So that's crazy. That's a crazy amount of money.
So this is the other part of the conversation that we had, right? Like after everything that we've just talked about, do you think that he can make all NBA this year? I'll take that back. You think he's gonna make all NBA this year?
Um, I don't know. I think I've said this on the insiders. Um, I think his pathway to an All NBA nod is easier than Sabonis's, because Victor Wembanyama basically should have an All NBA spot for the next decade. Like moving forward, I just don't see a way in which he doesn't. Like a bare minimum, I think he's going to be like 24, 10, and 4.5 blocks a game like this year, and that puts him in All NBA consideration. But I think he will be All NBA. I would have to go through all the guards in the Western Conference and then look and see all the guards overall in the NBA, and then see who made it this year versus who didn't. And then you got to worry about someone like Ja stepping up and just being better. But I also think that I know this might sound sacrilegious, but there's a possibility that LeBron James is an All NBA this year. There's a possibility that Steph Curry is an All NBA this year. You're already seeing that Fox averaged, more points per game than Steph last year. And if either one of those teams fall to like 10, 11, 12 in the Western Conference, it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough to give them an All NBA nod, even though I think they gave both LeBron and AD All NBA nods, even though, they were barely a playoff team last year.
Yeah, those types of things that are weighed against the Sacramento Kings aren't weighed against the likes of Kenny's Los Angeles Lakers.
Whoa,
It's just
whoa.
not that.
Relax.
It's just not the same thing.
I'm tired of this disrespect.
No, number one moment in the history of D'Lo and KC, at least the first 1,000 episodes.
Need a recount. I was listening to Joe Davidson again yesterday. His moment. That should have been top 10.
Yeah, the Joe Davidson
That was
wild phone call was pretty freaking iconic.
Yeah. I just want to clear, like, people keep saying it's positionless. That doesn't mean anything, just so you know. Like, the voters are still going to look, and for the most part, they're going to vote position by position. Like, you can say it's positionless, but there's still going to be like 3 or 4 centers on the team. I don't think it's going to be truly positionless.
Let's shift our attention to the newest Sacramento King, DeMar DeRozan. We've been watching these hoops hypes list all off season. And the small forwards came out, and DeMar DeRozan took the 8th spot. He would have been 6th, but he signed with Sacramento, so they're like, sorry, pal.
That's a -2.
Got to move you to 8. Got to move you to 8. And obviously, Kings fans have been pretty excited over the course of the last couple of days of various videos of DeMar DeRozan working out have hit the internet. And there was one that hit the internet yesterday that I think some people missed. Not the video. The video was pushed out there. DeMar and Juju getting that work in. The guy they were getting the work in with, I think, went over a couple of people's heads. That was the Doug Christie down in Los Angeles with that crew right there. And man, James, you know better than anyone, the prospect of DeMar DeRozan or any Sacramento King spending time in their offseason with Douglas Dale Christie is a good look for all involved.
Yeah, it wasn't just Doug. Leandro Barbosa is there as well. And I don't know
Those
if
two
you've
are
seen.
kind of like the tag team champions of the world. They're sort of inseparable at times.
No, I totally agree. And I don't know if you guys saw the video today. Kevin Huerter was there with them. And
I didn't
be
see
honest
that.
with you, Kevin Huerter, just from the short clip I saw, looked like he's been working. He looks phenomenal. So that's a big deal. You know, that's definitely a big deal to see those guys working together, trying to figure everything out. We talked to Sean Cunningham yesterday, and he told us that that there's a mini camp that they're going to have here in the coming weeks, a couple of days with these guys. I don't know, in LA or somewhere in Southern California. But I definitely think that, you know, this team is trying to pull together right now. You're seeing Fox working with a lot of the young players right now. But when it really, you got to understand, like Doug Christie, outside of the, you know, coaching the California Classic and Las Vegas Summer League, he's been with Domas the entire summer. He's been with him in Spain. He's been with him everywhere. And so this is a partnership that I think already we saw the benefits last season with a lot of the things that Demonis was able to do. But I also think that, like, there's just so many finer nuances of the game that Doug wants to teach. And there are things that if you're one of 15 guys listening to a conversation or listening, you know, to a coach, you don't take in all the nuances of what Doug is teaching. But when you get Doug, you know, in a one-on-one situation, he is working on so many things, whether it's hand placement, whether it's like just the way that you visualize and think of the game. The you know, how like Pete Carrill used to tell them, like the behind the back pass, right? We watched Patrick Mahomes throw that behind the back pass the other day, and it was just so incredible to watch on a football field. But I don't know if you guys noticed that that was like almost the only way that that pass would have been completed. It could have gone for 6 the other way, but it was like there was no other window for him to make that pass. And that's something that Pete Carrill has taught, you know, taught Doug and his group forever. Like the behind the back pass is something that you have to have in your bag because it actually is very effective. It should be part of basketball. Like the defensive player now has to go through you to get to the ball. And you know, there's lanes that open up when you can do that. So there's so many things that I think that Doug is teaching him that are just immeasurable, and they're going to make Domantas Sabonis into a better basketball player. And even if his statistics don't skyrocket, That doesn't mean he's not a better player than he was a year before, because I can guarantee you last season he was a much better player than he was a year before, and I expect him to take another leap as far as like what he means to a team versus what the stats look like.
We'll come back. We'll talk more about Doug Christie, DeMar DeRozan, and now that I know that there's more workout videos out there, Kevin Huerter.
Kayvon is back.
We'll do that when D'Lo and KC return here with James Ham on Sacramento Sports Leader, ESPN 1320. What's happening, Hammer? Yeah, fuck me, I guess. No, it's fine. It's fine. Whatever.
Wait. He's frozen. He's frozen.
No, he wasn't frozen
I
earlier.
know, but he is now.
No, he
I think
just
was going
ignored
out.
me. Well, let his ass freeze then. I'm trying to.
I think Hammer was going out. I don't
I'm
think he
trying to
heard
make
you.
small talk, and
James, can you hear us?
James just told me to go straight to hell.
I can, yeah, I froze for like 5 seconds.
Did you hear Damien earlier ask you a question?
No, I did not hear Damien
I
ask me the
told you,
question.
see?
See,
I was just ignoring you. What was your question, Dame?
I just said, "How's it going, Hammer?" That's all I said.
Oh, it's going good. Yeah.
Oh man,
That's funny.
that is funny.
That's
Man,
funny.
looks like that might drop a little early, huh?
Timing is everything.
Yeah.
You guys see they're changing the Hall of Fame eligibility thing just 1 year now?
What?
Is that for everyone or just for coaches?
Everyone. So Eli
Really?
Manning can get in there now.
Well, Eli was due this
if
year.
he's first ballot, but I saw or I don't remember.
I think Eli's due this year.
They said
The one
something or whatever.
they were
but yeah, it's
talking
for
about
players
Bill.
too.
The one I saw was
Yeah,
Bill.
but it's a
is
players
Bill,
thing too,
Bill
though.
can get in next year.
Steven Castaneda. We have a 12-man fantasy league.
Well, that sounded interesting.
Yeah, whatever. That's not flag worthy. That's
I'll
not
let you know
flag
it's
worthy.
flag worthy, James. Play on, though.
Play on.
Oh man.
I got a new shirt. People are
Yeah, your shirt's over. You
Loving
didn't
my
have that.
shirt.
Oh, you had a sweatshirt on today.
I had a polo on today.
Oh,
Yeah. No, I got home. I saw it sitting in the bag. I'm like,
Hmm.
oh, I'm gonna throw my McLovin shirt on.
Shirt's over.
One of the great movies in recent memory. Superbad is phenomenal.
I was listening to a podcast about the Sony hack 10 years ago. It was really good. And it was all because of that stupid ass Seth Rogen movie.
Which
The
one?
Interview. Yeah, that movie is dreadful. Like, it is awful. I can't believe Sony damn near sunk because of that movie.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But it was an interesting listen.
I did, Bryce, I did get this at Target. I was at Target the other day getting stuff for back to school. I'm like, oh, gotta have that. I don't know, there's nothing wrong with buying a shirt like this at Target or Kohl's. I ain't buying those $500 t-shirts that Kenny wears over there.
Kenny, what are you talking about?
That's
Yeah,
right.
well, what am I talking about?
Stop it, James.
40-year-old version versus Superbad.
Superbad. 40-year-old version's hella funny, but
Yeah, I'll take Superbad too.
I don't know. Have you guys watched that lately?
40-year-old version's hella funny.
Version's pretty
It's
damn
hella
funny.
funny. Superbad, no, I'm taking Superbad.
You know what I think my hang up is? I've seen 40-year-old version more than I've seen Superbad. I may have only seen Superbad once.
Oh, really?
And I remember, I know it's funny.
You gotta watch it again then.
I know it's good.
I don't know if like that type of movie. I don't know if there's one I'm picking over Superbad.
All right, we're coming back.
All right.
James has a McLovin Superbad t-shirt on, and it is sparking some interesting conversations here in the chat.
That
40-year-old version is very, very
it's hella funny. It's hella funny. 40-year-old version's hella funny. But
I think you guys are missing some one-liners and some things that happen in that movie. You're forgetting. Like, so you need to go back.
There's
and
the
watch them
Kevin
all.
Hart cameo or it wasn't even a cameo at the time. It was a Kevin Hart role in a movie.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
I
yes.
can't repeat those lines, but they're good.
And then the guy that that Kevin Hart approaches,
Yeah.
he has the entire scene where he talks about the sonogram, which
Yep.
is off the hook, makes you
Yes.
want to cry. It's so funny.
No, that's a good movie. I just don't remember Superbad as well.
Yeah.
Mm.
That's all it is.
I'm about to watch Superbad again. I'm about to watch 40-year-old version again.
Well, they're probably on. It might be on right now, to be honest with you.
Nah,
40-year-old
not on
version
Family
comes
Zone
on.
right
Well, that's a good point. That's a good point. On 7 stations.
Yeah.
Our man Steven mentioned this. Hammer, as you brought up, Kevin Huerter working out with DC, DeMar DeRozan and Juju. An injury-free Huerter is dangerous. Are we all in on that? Because I
Yeah.
think I am.
I'm in.
I think so. Like, why not? Look, I know that a lot of people are just out on him, right? A lot of people just saw last season and they're just like,
I did kind of wonder if Mike was one of them.
Well, that's the most important.
yeah, no, I get it, but that doesn't mean that. Like, I could see there's a world in which I could see him starting at the 3 and DeMar DeRozan starting at the 2 this season. And the Kings just going like all offense to open the game with all kinds of floor spacing and everything else. Like, I think Kevin brings an element to this team that's very difficult to replace. And I know, like, when I had conversations at the end of this season, I did not get the feeling that the Kings were out on Herter. I did not get that feeling at all. They think he's
Mhm.
young and that there's still plenty of opportunity for him to bounce back and really have a strong, year once he got past the shoulder issue. And so I don't know how long he's been able to go like full bore with his shoulder. But like the clip that I saw, he looks like he's been working out, not just running, but he looks like physically he's transformed his body. And like, look, that's what he has to do. You had a bad season. You got to figure out a way to bounce back and become the player you were before, whether it's for Sacramento or somewhere else. He's only under contract for 2 more years. And, if you want to have that 17, $18 million a year contract, maybe even more than that, man, you gotta have a bounce back year, and you got to show not just physically that you're ready, but mentally that you're ready for whatever comes your way in an 82 game season, whether that's starting, whether it's coming off the bench, whatever it is. Like, the Kings need him to either have value either way, whether it's for them or whether it's for another team, and he also needs that. So, a Kings fan should be pulling for him, because if he's right, the Kings are a better team. You got to remember, he was the 3rd leading scorer from the team that was unbelievable the year before. And when you had his numbers and sort of the feel and everything about his game kind of goes sideways last year, it really hurt the team. And, if he had the same year he did the year before, that team wins 50 plus. I don't have any questions in my mind. So we'll have to see how it goes.
The other thing,
Hey, Kevin looks pretty good.
You see it?
I'm looking at. Well, I didn't read.
Did you unblock me? Can I?
No, I don't know how many days in a row I have to unblock you. Like, come on, man, just find it.
I'm trying to get the content too, man. I'm
All
trying
right,
to see what it is.
I'll retweet it. I
Damn.
didn't want to retweet it from the particular account I found it
Oh,
from, so
oh.
I'll retweet it right now. That's my man, and all. I just didn't want to do that. So it's there on my it's there on my account. You can see it. And Kevin, I mean, he's not working. He looks in great shape.
Yes.
I'll look before you unretweet it.
Oh no, it's out there. I got it. It's on there.
The other thing about that though, Kevin Huerter and having him back or whatever, I think I want to see this team. People talking about making another move and need to do something else. I think the Kings did what they needed to do in the offseason. And now going into the season with this team, I don't think a trade's on the horizon, just in general, but the talk of a trade needs to be done. Like, go into the season with this team, see what you have, see what it's looking like, and it may work. It may work perfectly. And if it doesn't, then you've got another move or two to make, and you know clearly what it has to be. But I want them to focus on this group that's here. Like, I don't think I don't think right now, at least, is the time to talk about what's the next move or what more should we do.
I don't know that I agree with that 100% just because, like, again, I don't put this on Kevin Herter as much as I just put it on the general team construction. The Kings still need length and athleticism. And again, it's not a knock on Kevin. And I said it to you guys, like, coming into this summer, there was no way you could come back this year with Kevin Herter and Harrison Barnes both on the team. One of them, yes, and to a point, I almost didn't care which one. Kevin is a younger player. Harrison Barnes is the one with a more proven record of success. But just the combination of the two, you just weren't athletic enough at the 2 and the 3 to compete with, New Orleans or OKC or the teams that Minnesota, the teams that you're going to be facing this year, who took a leap last year or who you just stomped you last year, and the Pelicans. And so that was my concern. And I think that they've done something different, but they added a 6'5", 6'6" guy who can really score. They didn't add a long athletic defender outside of like Jalen McDaniels. So that's why even, the other day we saw Nasir Little got waived. Man, I'm kicking the tires on Nasir Little. Like, if you can, he's a guy who had some success and then sort of fell out of favor last year in Phoenix, and then they just bought out a 3-year, like almost $22 million deal for him. So they're going to pay him for the next 7 years with a stretch provision. And my point to him is that at some point somebody thought he was worth a 4-year, $28 million deal or whatever it was. He's still a good young player. He's still, 24 years old. He has that length and some of the athleticism we're talking about. And I'm not sure that he's an end all be all either, and he can even make the rotation. But like, the more good players or potentially good players that you can amass that fit roles, the better chance you have to succeed down the road. And that's where I just kind of keep pushing, like, hey, you still need that length and athleticism that you just don't have right now.
Well, I agree with you on that. I was thinking more so along like, oh man, maybe we could package Herter and da 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 and move and go get Kuzma or something like that. So, I'm kind of off that. Like, if you're adding people around the margins, like a Nasir Little or something like, yeah, absolutely, do what you have to do. But as far as trading what you have to go get some guys, I want to see what this group does.
It just has to be it would have to be the right trade for me. I've never been an advocate of just trading Kevin Herter to get rid of him. That's not at all what I think the Kings should do. That doesn't mean that there won't come a time where you've got to make some difficult decisions here with this roster and the money that you're putting out for this roster. And those decisions are coming like very quickly. But he's one of those guys that, like, he'll have value. He'll have value this year as a guy who has a year and a half left on his deal at the trade deadline, and then next summer he'll have value as like an expiring contract that can help you out, who's still like 26 years old. So yeah, I definitely think that there's some advantage to having Kevin on the roster right now. And look, if he finds his game and steps on the court and becomes the player he was a year before, this team is going to be unstoppable offensively. Like that, like adding another guy who can shoot 38 to 40% from the field, from three, and just really like create so much space. Like, it's a good problem to have.
James, it sounds like, correct me if I'm wrong, you feel like it's important for the Sacramento Kings to get off to a pretty strong start.
Well, yeah, but I think that goes for everybody. Like, we could dissect the schedule and look at that 6-game road trip they have near the end of the season, where, like, look, if you're not rolling at that point in the season, that's going to wipe you out. You'd rather have them have a little bit of flexibility at that stage in the schedule. But like, I think every team needs to get off to a good start. And the Kings are a team that, they're going to have a little bit of clunkiness, I think, off the bat, just because DeMar DeRozan is a huge, like player to drop into a system. Like, his usage is high, his like what he does is very specific, and he's going to have the ball in his hands a lot. That's just not something this team has been used to the last couple of years. And I love that he's down there working out with Sabonis. I mean, to me, that's exactly what he should be doing. He should be working out with Sabonis. He should be working out with Fox. as much as humanly possible, because that's kind of like where this team is going to take the big leap. And if anyone wants to know why De'Aaron Fox isn't there, it's because De'Aaron Fox's wife just had a baby, and so that's why Fox isn't down there working out with these guys like crazy, because he's just like, life has happened, and he's got stuff going on at home.
Makes sense.
Yeah, but you know what people are going to ask? You know,
Yeah.
well, where's
No,
Fox? in that
I know.
picture?
That's why I
We
said it that
deserve to
way.
know where De'Aaron is at.
It's like,
That's why I
zip
said it.
zip
Poor
it.
wife on her pregnancy bed, bro. It's none of your business.
Yeah, go look at Instagram. Great pictures, of little baby.
Little
Yeah.
baby Poppy. I love the name, and I wonder if that's what I'm thinking of
Another
is where
Leo
they got
baby,
it from.
by the way.
Oh, yeah, Leo baby, just barely. Yeah, it's these annoying Virgos
I don't
creeping
think
up
it's
now.
just barely. I think he was born August 7th, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh well, no, not barely then. Anyway, Leos, Virgos, too many that don't matter. We're talking too much about people that don't matter, or the birthdays at least. But the thing that I keep on seeing and that I just love, and the Kings put out a little video about with DeMar DeRozan, and it's just, man, the discipline. I keep coming back to that word with him, man. I don't know if you saw the video, but he talks about he gets up at 4 a.m. or something like that. He's on the beach before sunrise, doing agility stuff and core workouts, and then going there. And he's talking about, man, it's tough to do. It's not easy to get up. Sometimes you want to just stay in the bed or whatever. But at this age and this point in my career, if you want to keep being the player that you are, you got to put that work in. And I just, there's part of me that tries to prepare for, like, okay, maybe if it isn't as good as we all hope it is, I just can't see it not working out with a guy like DeMar DeRozan, aside from injury. But if he's healthy, like I just he's going to do what he does, which is going to be 20 a night. De'Aaron's going to do what he does. Damona's going to do what he does. Keegan's going to do what he does. And you got Malik, and it's just there's no way this team, if everybody is doing what they're supposed to do, doesn't win 50 games.
No, I think you're right, Kenny. I also think, though, like, the way that DeRozan plays, it just requires a change in mentality from Sabonis specifically. But then, like, the other three players on the court, when those guys are in a two-man game, you really have to figure out how to space the floor correctly, because they're not going to perform like the high pick and roll out past the 3-point line. They're going to do that pick and roll like more near the top of the key, more near the free throw line. And that's where they're going to do a bunch of damage, because that's where DeRozan just lives. And I don't think DeRozan is played with a player like Sabonis that can set him up this way, as like a DHO screener. And I'm intrigued to see what it looks like, because, man, he's got so much in his bag, like so many moves and so much ability to score in the mid and get to the basket, that, man, if they can do that, and then on top of it, if he can be the passer in a pick and roll setting and drop those passes to Sabonis, and they can figure that out before camp starts and before the season starts, that could just be a deadly duo. And it just makes the team that much more complicated to defend. And so I think that there's a way in which this thing works, like, really, really, really well. I also think that there's a way that, like, it does look a little clunky coming out of the gate, just because you don't have the familiarity with these guys. I think it's good that the familiarity with the rest of the players is really high. And the players that might get minutes, like a Jordan McLaughlin, is more of like a catch and shoot player on offense, right? He's a dude who shot like 45+% last year from three, just in the catch and shoot. He kind of gets out of the way on the offensive end and lets you do your thing. And that's a good thing to have guys like him, Trey Lyles, Kevin Huerter, Keegan Murray, just waiting on the perimeter to launch.
I think it's possible that it gets off. I think it's possible that it gets off to a smoother start than you might be giving it credit for.
It could. Like, we just
I
have
mean,
to
it
see
can
it.
certainly be clunky, but I just feel like the way that these guys work and the way that, not to go ESPN on you, but on the defensive end, maybe
look at him.
Maybe
look who it is now. It's beyond people.
Maybe there are things to figure out over there, but in terms of the offense, I feel like that could get out to feel like they could adapt to that pretty quickly. It feels like there aren't. I think one thing that really helps this team, Hammer, is there aren't a lot, or there might not be any like really kind of over the top egos on it. When you have a lot of really big egos, I think that can slow the the influx of a new offense or a really new important component to the offense. I don't feel like the Sacramento Kings have that.
No, I think the one guy, like DeRozan, comes in with a mindset of like, this is who I am, this is what I'm doing, and like, you guys need to get out of the way for certain stretches of the game while I do my thing. But he's also learned over the years how to be a very good passer. And if DeRozan comes in with the mindset that he's going to empower De'Aaron Fox and Keegan Murray specifically, then this team can just take off. If that is what his goal is, to be a shot creator for others, get his, but also have these moments where he's firing, the skip passes and the passes to get these guys like wide open looks. Like if he decides he's got to score 24 a game, this thing could get a little difficult. I just don't think that that's the player he's going to be. I think like 21, maybe 22 at the most, but he's going to take a little bit of a step back offensively in order for this whole thing to like flow and to work. And that's what you hope, at least.
Yeah, I'm kind of leaning a little bit towards what Dame is talking about. I think this offense from the jump, and once again, I'm preparing myself for first 12 games, first 15 games.
I love the Minnesota game
Things-
out the gate. Like
yeah.
I absolutely love that game out of the gate.
I think they're going. The more I think about it, the more I just, because it's like what you guys talked about, like the egos aren't there, and and to a certain degree, like I'm thinking of ways where it might not work. Maybe people are too nice. Maybe there's nobody
Too many
making-
extra passes.
Yeah, like, oh, I want to make sure everybody feels good. Somebody gonna need to look at that and be like, no, it's time to get 25 tonight. You know what I mean? This is what needs to happen, or tell somebody else. Fox, no, it's cool that you're trying to make the extra pass. You're a 26 point per game scorer in this league. Go be that. You know what I mean? That's where I think there might be a little bit of issue, but I think because of DeRozan and the high IQ that he plays with, and Sabonis and even Fox, I think navigating their way through around the floor and in that offense, I think they'll be all right, or even early.
No, I think it's possible. It's just, I just caution people that there's a difference between a guy who scores the way that DeRozan does, but like 6 or 7 of his shots come from behind the arc, and a guy who doesn't shoot a lot from behind the arc. Like the spacing is going to take some adjusting. Like there's going to be some things that you have to adjust to. And like, look, I think the good thing is Jay Triano was DeRozan's first coach. He knows him really, really well and can figure this out and kind of, like hopefully that's what we see, because I think like offensive potential, this thing could be one of the great offenses we've ever seen in the league.
Is that the biggest thing that they have to figure out, Hammer, is spacing?
Yeah, it's spacing, and it's not just because of DeMar. It's DeMar and Domas. Like it's the combination of the two. And again, if you want to get them in a two-man game and they're going to shrink the floor by against Sabonis moving closer to the basket and doing the pick and roll closer to the basket, or the DHO, the dribble handoff, closer to the basket, that just shrinks the floor. And you hope that it might open up the spacing a little bit for your shooters. But if you can get Sabonis to drag that out to the 3-point line and then, actually shoot the three, I think it could be really deadly. Because if he fakes a DHO and you got two guys that are following DeMar DeRozan, to the baseline, it should leave Sabonis wide open for top of the key, or above the arc 3-point shot. But he's got to take it in order for that to keep them honest. And so, yeah, I think it's going to add a new element, but I also think like Sabonis needs to bump up that 3-point number. If DeRozan can't move his number to 4 to 5 a game and sort of do a little bit more of, corner, standing in the corner type stuff, then Sabonis needs to make up that difference as well, and bump his 3-point shots up to, 1.52 a game, maybe even a little bit higher than that. I'm not saying Sabonis needs to be out there chucking 3 or 4 threes a game.
God knows he won't.
If he's hitting them,
He
go
will not
ahead.
but he will not take a shot that he is not 1,000% confident in.
Yeah,
That man
and if
will
he
not
misses
take
one,
a bad shot if his life depended on it.
yeah, and if he misses one, he really does kind of cool down. Like he doesn't want to take more. That's usually the problem. If he hits his first one, it's like, okay, it's on. But if he doesn't, then he usually reserves that and he doesn't take a lot more after that.
That's the old Boogie thing. Boogie hit his first 3. He's taking 6.
Yeah.
He's taking 6 in this game. He just hit his first one. He's going to get 6 off right here.
Real quick, speaking of Boogie, did you see him with Draymond Green?
Mm-mm.
No, I saw that it happened. I refused to watch.
I saw like the first 2 minutes of a clip, and then he goes, Draymond's setting everything up, and he goes, yeah, you were with the Kings, franchise that was rough or whatever. And Marcus is like, yeah. He's like, yeah, laughing stock of the league. He's like, yeah. He goes, a franchise where, people thought it was a night off when you played them. And Boogie was like, whoa, chill, brother. And then Draymond was like, no, I'm not saying, no, I'm just saying, it was me too. He got smooth for a second.
I saw the clip where did Draymond call him crazy? He was like,
I didn't see that.
So I saw one floating around. That's how I knew that they had linked up. Where he was like, yeah, we're kind of the same. And I think Draymond said something. No, we're not. Like, you're crazy. Something like that. I was like, I am absolutely not entertaining Draymond.
Yeah, I didn't get no more than about 3 minutes in. We'll move on.
Good luck, Draymond.
Good luck with that.
Hammer, what do you got going on this weekend? Fantasy football draft? What's happening?
No, we do that Labor Day weekend. We do have Domantas Sabonis will have his basketball camp this weekend. I think Sunday.
Oh,
so I might go out and see a little, Domas teaching the kids. So we'll see. Outside of that, it's going to be a little bit quiet. We're at that time of the year where you need to recharge and get ready for a
we're only 2
long
months
season.
away from games.
Yep.
2 short months away. Almost there. We'll only
2 short
rehash
months.
this exact conversation
3 times
4 more times. Yeah, at least 4 more times. We might just cut this and just run it so y'all can
Like
hear it again later.
Bianca Belair interview.
Run it back. Bianca Belair joins us talking about a match with Sasha. What are we doing next? Are we running it back?
Oh, we got football on tonight too. We got
do,
Raiders,
Oh,
49ers preseason
Yeah, we got green
finale.
and gold, run it back, and the Niners Raiders.
Green and Gold, which is live.
Yes, live with Charlie and Kyle
yeah.
Madsen up next. Kyle's been here doing nothing for about 4 hours. He's
That's
pissed.
right.
He's really mad.
It's
So mad.
It's live, pal. So we got that coming up. We appreciate you for being with us.